mateys. Welcome back to my channel. It's your host, London Lamborghini. And in today's video, we have a fantastic compilation TikTok all about, are you in the middle class? Did you grow up in suburbia? How do you know if you are in the middle class? And how to move up, down, and all around in between the different socioeconomic groups. Thank you so much again to all the new subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed, it's $3.99. So what are you doing? You need to join this community. And click the link in the description for the newsletter. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
In 1983, making $30,000 a year is equivalent
to making $164,000 a year in 2023 or 2024. Yes, that's right. And in addition, the middle class isn't dying, the middle class is dead. In 1950, the average household was making $3,000. The average house cost $5,000. So it wasn't too hard. You had about 2.5 times the price of your annual salary would be what you could do to afford a car and a house. Nowadays, people are making an average of $74,000 in household income, and the average house is $450,000. So in order to be considered middle class, the bare minimum of middle class in America right now in 2024, you would have to make $174,000. And that's not doing well. That's the bare minimum for middle class.
Are you upper middle class? Well, here are 5 ways to know for sure if you are indeed in the upper middle class. And before I begin today's video, I think it's important that I share with you today's source was from Yahoo Finance on a recent article, Are You in the Upper Middle Class? And 8 signs you've jumped from the middle class to the wealthy. Everyone can agree that we would all like to have a better life for ourselves and for our family. And for the majority of us, most of us fall into the middle class. So that being said, as I read this article today, I was thinking to myself, how many people actually make up the middle class here in the United States? What is the total percentage? So interestingly enough, I did do some research on this, and I pulled this data from the Pew Research. And then since 1971, unfortunately, the middle class has been shrinking here in the United States. So much so, it's down to 50% of the total population is found in the middle class as of 2021's last report. So from extrapolating from various finance journals to include today's article from Yahoo Finance, here are 5 ways to know that you are actually in the upper middle class as opposed to the latter, the middle class. So without extrapolating data points like net worth and income levels, because everything can be different if you lived in a big city to a rural area. So one of the first key points to know if you're in the upper middle class is this. Number 1, you have multiple income streams. Multiple income or passive income streams could be anything from like rental property income, stocks, bonds, life insurance accounts that pay cash value, or even royalties, or having a side business that creates income for you. All of that being told, multiple income streams is critical, and that would put you in the upper middle class if you are fortunate to have those types of streams. Number 2 is very similar to number 1 in that you own and have long-term assets. So owning your own home is a wonderful long-term asset. However, diversifying from just your primary home like rental property or owning stocks are wonderful long-term assets that will pay you lifelong passive cash flow, which is very important in building your wealth and maintaining your wealth throughout your life. Number 3, you have built something for yourself. That can be anything as simple as having your own small business. Maybe your side hustle becomes this wonderful new business. To a lot of people, I don't want to be an entrepreneur, Matthew. I don't want to start something like that. Well, you know what's also important is investing in yourself. So if you actually go back to school and you have this wonderful new skill set, say in computer science, finance, whatever that looks like, and it makes you a prized commodity in the workplace, that's a wonderful thing to have and own that you've built yourself. So with that being said, owning something is a wonderful way that the upper middle class enjoy in building and maintaining their wealth. Number 4, the upper middle class always surround themselves with an excellent team. An example of having a great team would include an accountant that helps you with your tax preparation and deductions for maybe your small business. Additionally, you're going to want a family attorney that helps you with your estate planning or your trust and will for your loved ones. And lastly, you're going to need a great relationship with your bank or financier to help you with your investments, maybe your loans, and all of your banking needs. That is an example of having a great team. Number 5 is a rolling basis across the country net worth that you need to have to be considered in the upper middle class. As reported on a 2023 Modern Wealth Survey from Charles Schwab, an average upper middle class family has about 2.2 million of average net worth to be considered in the upper middle class. If I could add a sixth one, that would be maximizing your ability to take time off to spend with your loved ones and family and friends. Unfortunately for a lot of folks, they cannot take time off because they just won't have the ability to make up the bills for the lost time. If you're in the upper middle class, the majority of the time, these people can take the time off because they have multiple income streams. And that way that allows them to leverage their time to enjoy with their loved ones and family. Well, there you have it. Are you in the upper middle class? I hope you got value out of this video. And as always, feel free to share your comments and tell me what you think about today's video. Love to hear from you guys. As always, I'll see you guys on the next one.
Let's talk about making fake friends. It's a lot like making real friends, but instead of making friends based on them being interesting or cool or fun to be around, you are making it because of what you stand to gain by association. If that sounds cold and calculating, to be so real with you, here are the facts, okay? It's a dog-eat-dog world, and we are all getting chewed on whether or not we realize it. Wealth is unevenly and unfairly distributed, and a bitch has got to eat. And people are puzzles of need. If you want to solve your own, start by solving other people's and see if you can't get the right pieces in order, okay? The other thing is, if you, like me, were not born with privilege in hand, it is your human right as an ingenuitive, creative problem solver to figure out how to get privilege from people who already have it. I am a morally ambiguous woman who is highly ambitious and interested in getting the best I can with what I have, okay? So these are the tips and tricks I use to make fake friends. Step 1, establish your goals. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that you need to go in knowing what you want. In fact, don't even try to know what you want, because the beauty of this technique is that you will receive things you would never have even imagined asking for. The greatest thing you can do in this early stage is figure out decisively what you like and what you don't like. You need to hone your sense of discernment. The second one is so obvious, but know where you need to be, right? Like, I moved to LA. LA is a huge city filled with insanely affluent, very, very wealthy people, obviously. But it doesn't really matter if I'm in the right city if I'm not in the right places in the city. That requires you to do research. And to be honest, you're not going to get this information on TikTok. I have been reading histories, I have been reading biographies, and I have been reading fucking magazines. The second thing is you have to be consistent. Just like making real friends, making fake friends requires you to be around. I see people make this mistake pretty often where they'll go to like a members only club or a golf course or like a super bougie coffee shop, hoping and praying that they make that one special connection, even though they can't really afford like that one shot chance. And invariably it's a flop because people need to know your face and get familiar with you in order for this to work, right? So I highly suggest only going to places where you can consistently show up and either be a member or a patron. You need to focus on the details because real wealth, the kind of wealth that we want to get close to, does not announce itself. It's not wearing a brand name. It's not driving a fancy sports car. None of that, okay? You need to pay attention to the way they enunciate their words. You need to pay attention to their inflection, to the set of their shoulders, their posture, how clean their shoes are, how casually their clothes are worn. It's the little tiny details that reveal themselves. And also think about how well put together they are in the context of their identity. Now, if that tip doesn't make a lot of sense, I'll give you an example. Gay men, for example, have extremely high beauty standards. Like, they're supposed to be shaved and tanned and rippling six-pack and bi-weekly haircuts. And in LA, it's very common for them to have plastic surgery as well. If you meet a gay man who's able to run in affluent circles, who doesn't have plastic surgery and isn't super well taken care of, assume that that man has more power than God. Do you know what I mean? And then the opposite is true for women, obviously. Next tip, be like an elephant and never forget a name, a birth date, a detail, a sibling's name. Never forget that shit. Whenever you meet somebody, get a full name so you can Google them later. And then whenever your conversation is over, 2 minutes. Just write down some notes on your conversation and try to review them before you anticipate seeing this person again. Because all a person really wants is to be important and to be remembered. And if you are cultivating a relationship with the goal of getting something from them, the very least you can give is that, right? Next tip, be so chill. I find that the types of people that I'm usually trying to become fake friends with are typically a little more anxious, a little more high strung, and the way to be like comforting to that person is to just be literally so chill. Don't be problematic, don't be anxious, don't be needy, be so chill. The last tip, never ask for anything. I have never asked for anything from a fake friend and I never will. I will simply allow myself to be open to receive if they should offer, okay? And I highly suggest you do the same. Otherwise, you're cloying and needy and gross. Don't do that. The rule that I live by through all of this, no matter what, never sacrifice your integrity or your autonomy. Accept only what is right for you and be kind, consistent, and honest. I hope you get so much good.
Thank you for staying until the end of the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. What was it like for you growing up in suburbia, and do you hope to transcend your socioeconomic group one day and social climb? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you to every single new subscriber. I love each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed, it's free 99, so WYD, what the heck are you doing? And as always, link in the description to join the community. And tune back in next time for a brand new video.